Well, welcome everyone to our Goal Getter Monday. I am so pumped today. I know we're all in different places, so our weather might not be beautiful where you are, but I will tell you, I felt this morning like I lived in California. It was 70, which is freezing to me. And it was like sunny and pretty. And now it's a little funny. It's already like 86. So I'm feeling like we got a return of summer in Virginia because it was getting cold last week. People, we were wearing hoodies outside. But now it is beautiful and love to know what it's like where you are, because something that I realized last year, y'all see I have pumpkins over here already, realized last year with my amazing team from South Africa is that I talk about the fall and the fall for America, but other places, they are so excited to start what season? If we're starting fall and you're on the other side of the world, what season are they starting? Nobody? No one. Spring. It is spring. So that is so fun because y'all know what happens. Spring, we have a totally different marketing plan than fall. So I want to open your eyes to that today, because as I talk about the day in the life of a brand partner, it actually is going to look a little bit different depending on where you're building. And what I mean by where you're building is where you live, where you're like focused on marketing, because what you're going to talk about, you want to make sure is able to be actually utilized by that brand, that market is what I should say. Sorry, I came on outside because I told you it was beautiful. I was like, I'm gonna come on out here. So this is not going to last us more than 30 minutes unless you have questions, because I want you to go and do the things, actually do the things and not just listen. So a day in the life of a brand partner is going to look different for 3 different people. First, I'm going to talk about what it looks like if you're doing this from home with little kids. Okay. And I am going to talk about that from experience. Then I'm going to talk about what you're doing when this is your full-time income. I didn't say full-time hours, but full-time income. Then the third thing I'm going to talk about, which I've only experienced for 1 week the past week, is that there's no one at my house. And that requires the most discipline for me. I'm just going to be real with y'all. The first two were way easier for me than this third one, which is there's no one to take care of. There's no one to tell me where to be. I can do what I want when I want. And I'm like, am I actually a really good boss to myself? Maybe not when I have 5.5 hours alone. I don't know. It's still up for negotiations. We'll take a vote on that in about 6 months. But I want you to take a breath and remember that what you're doing every day, you can change the next day. So if you're like, okay, this isn't working, you can do something new the next day. And I am going to encourage you that I don't have rules about when I work and when I don't, because that doesn't work for me. So if you have rules about when you work and when you don't, then make that work for you. So right now in your head, and write it down on paper if you have it in front of you, I want you to decide what that boundary looks like for you. So the boundary for me looks like when I put my phone down, I'm disconnected. When is that? Well, right now it's actually, guys, it's a really weird time, but like from 2:30 until 8 o'clock at night, from 2:30 to 8, which is really weird, but my kids get home, sports, dinner, and I put them to bed really early. So I'm not available. Like I might choose to here and there, but I'm really not available. Like I'm really not. So that's one of mine right now. The next one for me is when I go to church, I'm not available, which is only a couple hours, but I mean like not available. And if someone texted me, called, I don't care. Like I'm just not available. When I go on vacations with my family, I will be very transparent. I have never been not available except for chunks of time. And what I mean is I have been available if I choose to work for that hour with my phone. I've never been the person that's like, I'm completely gone for this whole week, leave me alone. But that's for me. When I went on a mission trip to Africa, I was only not available because I didn't have a cell phone that worked. Okay. So think about that with you. You either have to make yourself unavailable or you are okay with being available. You choose. And you also choose if available means being proactive and putting content out there, or if it only means being reactive and answering questions or responding to prospects or responding to Instagram messages or whatever. So kind of want you to have that in your head, because as I talk, you decide how that day fits into your schedule. So that is really what I wanted to say first. For me, I built this business really weird at the beginning, teaching full time, pumping in a bathroom. Sorry if that grosses you out, but I did. It was better than my classroom with a cow sign on the door. Driving back and forth a lot, and kind of being, my schedule was already a hot mess. It was already a hot mess. I coached 3 sports. I worked full time. My husband was constantly deployed. I had 2 little kids. And so I really worked this in the cracks of the time but I made all my time work. I was always on the phone and every break in my day making phone call. I called a lot of people, actual phone calls, calling lots of people, talking to them, walking them through how to get started, had classes every Tuesday. I did that from like week 2, every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. I had a class. I had kids with me most of the time. My house was never clean. I mean, just all the things that maybe you don't want to be. That's okay if you don't resonate with that. But I want to tell you, I was not organized and I was excited, and that was able to work for me. So in a day, I kind of want to paint that picture because what my life looks like now is really different than when I got started. So that season of having little kids, we even adopted a baby after that. Like all the things happened. My husband was gone all the time, and I never have made it. Oh, I have to make this disclaimer. I never thought of myself as a content creator, always a connector, and that's still how I look at myself. Tracy can speak in a few minutes, I'm sure, about what it looks like to be a content creator and how that day shifts, but it's also a mindset shift. So what I want to tell you guys that my goal every day is to connect and invite. So that's like my big theme is I'm connecting and I'm inviting. So that is really what I spend my day doing. So today, my work has not looked as public as I wanted it to because I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I've spent time really inviting people to a workshop that we have coming up, and then actually met in person with 6 ladies from our team, didn't take a picture with them, blah, blah, like all, like actually met with them, talked through some things, met with a lady that had just recovered from COVID and talking to her about supplementation and all kinds of things. So really, what your day looks like is dependent on your priorities. And that is where that whole bunch of rambling came from. So write down your boundaries. Now, and I want you to write down your priorities. Is your priority, right? Like if you came on this and you're like, every day I'm trying to make a reel a day, and you are like, that's where I'm going to get results. That's where I'm focused. Then you would write that down. If every day your goal is to connect with people in person, then get your butt out of your house. Because if you write that down, then you have to actually go somewhere. You can't like sit here and be like, hey guys, I'm at my house with my starter kit and it was the way I got started. Do you want to come smell these oils? Like no one's going to come. No one is going to randomly show up at your door and ask if they can smell your oils. So just thinking through that a little bit and thinking about your time. I mentioned that too, because for me, we homeschooled last year. So I was unavailable during the morning. Now I'm like super available from 7:10 a.m. because I leave that early, which is when no one is responding to me or talking, that I have to figure out how to make that time work. Because in the morning, I'm very available. So I've had 2 classes in the morning, leading a women's group in the morning. Like it just, you have to kind of figure that out, what works for you. And if you've never done this with your schedule and Young Living, this is a great time. If you work full time and when you poop at work is when you're going to work every day, and that 10-minute time period, cool. Listen, I created my Facebook group when I was pooping at work. Like, there you go. Like, there you go, guys. You can do it. If you have a 30-minute lunch break, guys, guess how many hours a week that is? 2.5. So we're going to encourage you, wherever you are, you're going to make it work with your schedule. If you have no time to listen to podcasts and calls, then I will challenge you to say that also tells me that you never, ever walk outside. You never fold laundry and you never drive anywhere, right? Because the word never is a really strong word. So those are times that you can always listen. Folding and putting away laundry, in your car driving somewhere. Maybe for you, you cook by yourself and you like music. Well, maybe you need to listen to a book instead. Just think through those things a little bit. So every day you wake up, what I want to encourage you to do, and this is just good life advice, not necessarily because it makes you an awesome brand partner. But when you wake up, there's a few things that you're going to do. The first one is whatever it looks like for you to connect. So to me, I would say reading my Bible, really just, I don't have a formal gratitude practice. I wish that I did, guys. I will every once in a while be like, I have this journal and I write these 5 things every day and I'll do it for like a week. And then like 5 months later, I'll do it for a week. But for me, the practice of, I have a few different ways that I connect to God, worship, my Bible, whatever that is for you. And I'm not saying you need to do that, but if that for you is meditation, if that for you is stillness, if that for you is listening to a song, if that for you is prayer, if that for you is journaling, whatever that is, where it's not really loud, it's not fast, and it is a way to get your mind on the right things for the day and not on your email or on your inbox or on franticness of packing a lunch real quick. So you want to do that. And even if you're not an early morning person, I challenge you to find that space so that you can do that without it being a scramble and a rush. The next thing is you're going to drink water. And I know you're like, did she really just tell me to drink? I actually did tell you. You're going to drink a quarter of your day's water in the first hour you wake up. So if I try to drink 100 ounces a day, then I literally chug 2 glasses of water that equal about 30 ounces. I chug them. Actually, I think they equal 35 or something. I don't really know. But you're going to do that. You're going to put some citrus oils in it, use glass, use vitality drops. For me, really, I don't need to do that at that point. I need to use those things way later in the day when I'm like sick of freaking drinking water. Chug the water, get your mind, get your cells hydrated. Then you're going to get moving for at least 10 minutes. So if for me, when I'm training for a marathon, it's like 2 hours, which, okay, I'm not saying that everyone needs to do that, but I don't want to also say 10 minutes and somebody are like, I want to stop going to the gym. Ashley said move for 10 minutes. Not what I mean. But I mean walking around your house, stretching, moving so you get your brain awake. So all of these 3 things are going to set you up for success. The next thing that you're going to do in the morning is the 4th thing. You're going to drink your Ningxia Red. I don't care if you like in the afternoon. You can drink it twice. You know why? Because you can afford it, because you're investing in your body. You're investing in your health. You're going to take your shot of Ningxia Red. Got it? Okay. The 5th thing is you're going to take supplements. Whose supplements? Young Living supplements. Wait a second, guys. Couldn't you document every day all these 5 things that you're doing and what you diffused when you did the first one? Maybe how you moved that day and what oil you applied after. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, how water consumption is hard for you and how you're chugging it and it's making it easy, which is like a scientific thing. Y'all realize it, right? Like you can chug room temperature water. I'm not even saying add anything to it, as in like not the hot lemon, the kind, none of that. I'm saying literally our bodies will absorb it a lot easier because we're not having a sensitivity to it and we can trigger our brain to wake up with it. And then why you're taking a Ningxia Red shot, what that supplement pile looks like. My 9-year-old started last week taking supplements every day because he knows I've done it forever and now he's going to school. So at night he takes his little cup. In his little cup, it's so awesome. He puts 4 Mighty Vites, he puts 1 Sulfurzyme, he puts 1 Super B, he puts 1 Agilise. Do I know that this is what he should be doing? I have no idea, but it seems like it's the right thing because he does that every day. He puts a zinc dissolvable, he puts a Super C or something else. Oh, and a Mighty Pro. And it's like this little cup. And he, and D. He actually takes, sorry, y'all can all judge me. He does not like the dissolvable D. I don't know why. So he takes a capsule of D that probably doesn't work because it's not Young Living. Probably doesn't. It's probably just like, it's probably nothing. But he is doing this himself. And that's a healthy practice that he's doing every day as a 10-year-old, not a 9-year-old. I keep thinking that me as a 38-year-old, guys, if I do that every day and I also share it in my stories, don't you think people are going to look at me as a consistent model of health? A consistent person that when I speak about the levels of CD and zinc they want in their body, that they're going to listen to me because they know that I practice what I'm doing. So that is just 5 simple things that maybe that's not what you were expecting from this call. And I'm okay with that. But I want you to walk away and think, I'm going to be a better person because I'm choosing to do this business. So in order for us to set ourselves up for success, we have to walk in the success habits of successful people. So I, for a long time, love studying leadership and the habits of successful people. Lots of them have I have a friend that has like a 2-hour elaborate morning routine. I am not telling you to do that. I am telling you to simply take the things that you do unintentionally and make them very intentional in the morning. And I can assure you, it will help you be confident as you tackle the rest of your day. And it will help you know what to share. So both those things. All right. So after you do that, again, don't think of this as time because some of you guys are like, okay, so I do that. Then all of a sudden I'm like trying to get ready for work or I'm trying to get kids ready for school or I'm starting homeschool. Okay. Just go ahead, lay that aside and let's go ahead and say what we're kind of doing. So you always want to have one goal for the day that is non-negotiable. Like it is happening. Don't care if I don't do anything else, but in my business, this is happening. Okay. So let's go in the comments and then I'm putting you right on the spot. Actually, I would love for y'all to talk. You just have to share the goal. No judgment, nothing else. But what is your one thing that you will not go to sleep tonight until it's done? No one's willing to do it because you don't know, right? Because you're not used to doing this yet. All right. So go ahead.
All right. I can say what I'm going to do for today, but it's not like an everyday thing. So I had an in-person party yesterday, and there were 7 girlfriends there. And we made our own. We made a face wash. We made a foaming hand soap, and then we sampled the charcoal mask, which is rad. If you guys have not done the charcoal mask yet, it's amazing. So I'm going to post about that today. But I'm going to try to follow up with, there's at least 2 that want to sign up, and then I'm going to follow up with the other ones. So that's what I'm going to do today, but that's not an everyday thing. And reels, I'm going to start to try to do, I'm going to do, yeah, I don't know if I can do a reel a day just for my time constraints, but reels are magic, and I'm going to start to do them more often.
Yeah. So
Amber,
that is, you did just say it.
yes. And actually, Amber, can you share, you just got your last 3 enrollments through reels, didn't you?
Just from that one reel. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't even know, I'm not sure who organized it, but there's a business group that somehow I got invited into, and then they wanted to teach an Instagram class. And so there's, I think, 6 or 7 of us. Natalia's in there. Luann, I think, is in there. Tracy's in there. But we do one post every Thursday, and it can be a post, a story, a reel, a live, anything you want. And this category, like for September, is all about ditching out candles, subbing out candles. And so I did one reel about like getting rid of a candle and a Febreze and Scentsy, a nasty icky Scentsy packet, and got rid of those and did a diffuser. And it's had a ton of views, and I've had 3 people reach out to me about wanting, like, after seeing, I think they just have seen me post enough times that they're curious enough about it that they said, okay, finally, like, all right, what's this about? And so I've had 3 people sign up from that one. So reels, it's people just they're just into reels right now. So I encourage you, take the plunge and try it, because they're huge views.
I have to get back to doing reels. I kind of stopped lately, but I do post every day. That is something I do. Mostly I was doing a lot of videos, and now I'm kind of putting posts, but I need to get back to more videos and get back to those reels. I've been a bit off the rails, but I still post.
So I think what's interesting about, Amber, what you just said was amazing, because your priority today, like your example, that is what you do today. You're following up from a class. So it doesn't have to be every day, but that is like, you will not go to bed tonight until you follow up with those 7 girls and you figure out what the next step is for each one. So that's really all. Like Anna, I don't know if you would say this, but like for me, sometimes with reels. So I had all these that I loved and I did them all. So now I'm like, I don't really have ones that I'm like, I want to do this. Like, I don't have a bunch. I had a lot. I did like 50 of them. And now I'm like, don't really have great ideas. But
Yeah.
I noticed that people are really watching my stories. So like, for example, today, it's not my goal, but it was on Friday, to just do a really good story day. And what I mean, a really good story day is I was going to share what my kids' lunches were, or I did. Lunches were, how the first week of school went. I was going to talk a little bit. I talked about supplementation. Like, so I on days that I know I'm going to do that I'm not going to be just taking pictures and sharing life stuff, I won't go to bed until it's done. So sometimes that's a preset thing that I get from Grow or another group that's a bunch of, sometimes it's Young Living graphics, right? I'm telling a story, but sometimes it's also like showing people school supply things or running tips, whatever it is. But if that's your priority that day, remember, you're probably not going to have that as a priority every day, because something else is going to be more important in your personal life or in your business the next day. So it is not every day. Same thing. Like for me today, I have an in-person event that lots of people want to come to, but no one's buying tickets. So it doesn't make sense. It's like a big buzz. People are excited, but like super annoying because only 8 people bought tickets. So I have to sell 20 more tickets today. Like, I'm doing it. I message people. I'm going to tell them it's urgent, important, all the things. Do it now. So I hope that helps everyone. And I hope it simplifies the next thing that I'm going to tell you. When you have a priority for your day, it simplifies the rest, because what you're not doing is you're like, oh, well, that's cool. Ashley did that today. I'm going to do that too. Oh, that's so awesome. I want to run that report every day starting today, right now. Cool. I'm going to have a class every Tuesday night too. And I'm going to start tomorrow. Like, do you understand that it keeps us from doing this? Like, our business really isn't gathering low-hanging fruit of ideas. It's gathering low-hanging fruit of people who are interested in our products, which means we really have to be focused on where we are. The next thing that we do every day, and it's a very simple thing. Guys, we have to invite people to take a look at our products or business opportunity every day. I do not have a great strategy for inviting people to look at the business opportunity. I'll be really honest with that. That's not usually my approach to what we do. It's just classically for me, has only worked well when I've known people are looking for a business and then I'm approaching them with a business opportunity. But what I do every day, I'm like a toddler, is I will take a look at my calendar and spend time inviting people to either come to an event, which means this is not a class about planning events. You already have to have the events planned. That's what you do end of last month, beginning, or if you haven't right now, like after this call, go do that. But you have to invite people to the events you have planned, or you invite people to meet with you or do a phone call with you to learn about the products and the custom bundle you can put together to best serve them. So this is every day. Every day. It could be even all day. You have to be disciplined and focused, or like me, I'm then all of a sudden on Amazon buying an advertisement from Facebook that's like this ugly shirt I don't need because I just got squirrely and stopped inviting people. So you have to really be focused. And I do this way better in like 20-minute chunks of time. I am not an advocate for myself of time blocking and color coding my whole calendar, because I'll do that and not feel bad not doing it. I don't know. Everyone's different. If that works for you and you trap yourself with colors, do it. For me, I will make that, and then it doesn't make me feel bad when I don't do it. I'm like, whatever. So whatever works for you, you do need to create those self-disciplined habits in your life. And if you do that morning routine, you've never done that before, I guarantee you, it will help you be disciplined in every other area of your life. It will be a trickle effect. So invite people to take a look. Is there a rule on numbers? No, but yes. So I forever and ever, and I told myself this morning, I'm like, I'm going to say this to y'all. I should probably also do this myself. I always was a 10 and 2 person. You follow up, invite, talk to 10 people that either already have oils or already expressed interest, and you find 2 new ones. 10 and 2, 10 and 2. Contact 10, follow up, invite 2 new people. Does that mean you stalk people until you find 2 new people interested? I didn't say they have to express interest. 2 new people. Talk to them, start a conversation, go comment on their social media, start a conversation where maybe they have expressed that they are interested in healthy products back to school. Then you invite them to a class you have, or you make up a freaking class that's like, hey, I'm having a back to school class tomorrow at lunchtime, because they're a stay-at-home mom of a toddler and they have a kid in high school, whatever it is. But guys, be relentless with yourself. Whatever your number is. Again, I am not telling you it has to be an exact number. It can be an hour of your time, it can be an exact number, or the third one, it can be right now, maybe you're like, I don't have a wide range of people. So maybe it's literally all the people. Maybe you're like, today I'm going to invite all the people in my network that I know to this class next week, because maybe your network's not big. We all have different size networks, and that's really important for you to not compare, because we're all going to be different. Our teams are different sizes, our networks are different sizes, our influence in our community is different. So those things are every day. Okay, so today in your life of brand partners, we've gone through about 2 hours. It's about everything I said for me would be about 2 hours of my time so far. As in, I'm following up, inviting, and what else am I doing? I'm finishing that big task for the day. And that task might be like, like me, I'm gonna be shooting a bunch of messages to people, and then it's probably later on, guess what I'm doing? Responding to a bunch of messages, then I'm sending the link to the ticket, then I'm looking at the Eventbrite. So it might not all be at once, but whatever it is, if Anna's gonna create a really awesome reel, she might find the reel she wants to create, then be busy. And she might create it and then not be able to do captions on it, not finalize it. Then later on, she's writing, doing the hashtags and posting it. So it might not be at once, but she's not going to bed tonight until it's done. So is that clear to everybody about what your day should look like? The next thing that I want to encourage you with what it should look like, it shouldn't be you scrolling social media mindlessly, but what it should like is your level of presence on social media should be consistent. I have a friend that I just enrolled, not interested in being a brand partner. Man, I wish that she would be. But she, homegirl, comments on it. I'm serious. She comments, everybody that we know, mutual friends, which is hundreds and hundreds of people. She comments on everybody's social media every day because she loves it. It's like something she loves doing, loves encouraging people. So here's the thing. I have no idea how much time she spends. I do know she does it in the morning. And the reason I'm expressing that to you is people not selling something can still be encouraging and comment. You that does sell something should be even more encouraging and comment. So whatever that looks like, if that's only on Instagram, if it's only on Facebook for you, if you're spending time on TikTok, whatever it is, here's the thing. Don't consume without commenting. So I want you to write it down somewhere. Don't consume without commenting. You need to have your people, your network, to see that you are a positive influence, that you have something cool going on. And even if you're not producing awesome content yourself, they're going to notice you because you're showing up everywhere. Like, get it, girl. I hope they have a great first day. Looks like an awesome weekend with your family. What was your favorite part? Like, whatever it is, give yourself a set amount of time and do it. It can be wishing people happy birthday, whatever you think is your personality. I don't wish people happy birthday every day on Facebook, but I would like to pay someone to do it for me. My friend just did that. That is a realtor, and I'm like crushing it, right? Because it's awesome. If you have 5,000 Facebook friends, and every day you probably have like 20 with a birthday. I want you to think about that a little bit, like what could look like for you. Okay. With reels, I know I took a big pause because I want to take a caution. With the abundance of reels that are out there right now to watch and consume, I really want to encourage you. If you're watching them, comment. You should probably like them. Like, do you realize that we get back what we put out there in the universe? It's the law of the universe. It's just the truth. So if you're consuming and not encouraging people, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why does this reel have 6,000 views in the first hour and one comment? Because, dude, you're a consumer and so are others. So I want to encourage you with that. Be purposeful with your social media time. Set your time and be realistic. If you're like, yeah, I scroll for about 4 hours a day, then don't tomorrow say I'm going to scroll for 15 minutes. No. Then maybe you give yourself 2 hours for real, where you're like, okay, from 9 to 11 p.m. This is what I'm doing. I work on commenting, but I'm really like, I'm consuming and commenting. So that is really important to give yourself some boundaries on that. And then really the last thing that I'm going to say that every day it looks like to be a brand partner is you are on top of what's happening on your team. So I've had a lot of people who are seasoned, been doing this for 7 years, and they're like, I didn't know you could do that in virtual office, or where is that? Or where do you look for new rankers? Or how do you know? And here's the thing. Again, this is not a how-to, but this is what you should do chat. And I really want to make sure that's clear, and I want to be encouraging, and I want you to go out and do it. That's why I'm trying to wrap us up. You have to go into your virtual office and you have to be aware of things that look different. So it looks different. So for me, it looked different last month when a bunch of people weren't on ER anymore that used to be. Like, it looked different. They didn't have a box there. They didn't have any PV, and it was like the 20th of the month. Kind of had to figure some stuff out. Like, it looked different. There was something wrong. And is that kind of making sense? That's a feelings thing. Running reports. If your team is 100 people or less, you could talk to every one of these people. For me, when I do it, it's a group, it's a one email, which is probably not as personal, but I want to encourage you, pull up by last order date and just start looking at your people. If you have less than 100 people, I'm telling you guys, you can thank people for their order every single time, every time. So pull it up. You can personally message and say on Facebook, on Instagram, text them, whatever. Thank you so much for your order yesterday. Can't wait to hear what your favorite product was. So that will not only have a relationship that is being created or fostered, but you're going to know that at the end of the day, if everything else you didn't work, that did work because you spoke directly to them. So if you have a larger team, I would encourage you to send an email. It might not feel as personal. When I do that, it doesn't feel as personal. I don't get as many responses as if I'm sending a direct message. But thanking people, thank them for their orders. You know why? Next month, when they have an error and you email them or you message them about their error, last month you thank them for their order. So you're not just trying to, increase order size, or you're not just trying to make sure their thing went through. They're looking at you as someone who genuinely cares about them. So I hope that is simple sounding, but I just want to really help you know where to spend your time. So virtual office, spend some time there looking, but don't have that dictate your actions all day. That's why I don't really encourage you to do that first. Because if I look sometimes on any of if I look on, Wild Insights, I look on early trends, look at virtual office, and I let that get in my head for the day, then I do like a really bad job of some of the other things I'm doing, because sometimes it isn't always positive information. Maybe it's somebody dropped off ER, or maybe somebody, maybe somebody decided to place under 100 PV order and they're not going to be a leg for one. Like, it just, do your big things, whatever the big goal is. Go through, invite people, talk to new people, then go through, do a little bit of thanking people, looking at errors, that part too, but definitely do one of the positive actions that you'll associate with pulling reports and looking at data. Data is delicious, but only if you know how to digest it. Data only works if you're tolerant to it. Just like if you have a gluten intolerance or gluten allergy and someone tries to feed you cake constantly, you're not going to process it well. So give yourself something that is delicious and exciting and fun first, then you'll work your way into maybe doing some more advanced work later. That was way more talking than I wanted to do, but I want to encourage you with this. You design your day and you design your time. My day is mine and yours is yours. You have to make it work, and remember that you can start over tomorrow. You can find a system that works. You can find something that works. You don't want to skip around, hop around constantly with what you're doing, because you really want to figure out what works for you, what hours you work best in, how your brain functions the best, and how you can care for yourself well and those around you and still rock this out. And you can grow quickly, guys. That's not what I'm saying at all. You can skyrocket it. You can go enroll someone this month. They can executive this month. You can be well on your way to your next rank. You just have to do it and know what's happening so that you can keep holding on to it and tell other people what you did. They can model that, or they can figure out a system for themselves as long as they're doing those central actions. All right, Tracy, you want to add anything? I'm sure you do.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. You guys, I hope you're taking copious notes. There are a few things I just wanted to highlight that I just could not agree with more. And then just letting you know, like, we all work our business a little bit differently. You know, Ashley was huge and still is on in-person building. And for me, I built a different way, right? Like, I'm a blogger. And so that's kind of how I built my business. But I want you to know that the actions that we take are very, very similar, right? There is a focus on prospecting. So she's prospecting to get people to come to a class. I'm prospecting in a different way, maybe through social media, through my blog. You know, I have a course, and that's kind of like how I was doing it, or through a blog post or something. But I was always thinking, how can I keep inviting people? What are some other ways that I can do this? And this is what I feel like the big change that's happened over the course of the last 7 years is, you don't need to be a blogger or an influencer. You have influence, especially in your own social media. You guys, Instagram Reels, I feel like that one thing, some of us, we talk about, like, remember what it was like in the beginning. We used to teach these Facebook classes. How amazing was that? That's what Instagram Reels is right now. So if you're not committed, I'm telling you, it's huge. Amber just said she got 3 people who just enrolled from one reel, Instagram is really putting a lot of weight on it, to the point where they're showing that reel to people who are not even following you. If you're doing a post or a story, that's limited to people who are following you. Reels get shown to everybody. So just kind of something to think about if you're like, I don't know where to spend my time. Honestly, exactly what Ashley said, find creases in your time. She was a young mom. I was a young mom when we first started this too, right? Like, had a toddler in tow. I remember, like, I have 5 minutes. I'm going into the bathroom and I'm going to do this thing real quick. You could do a reel in 5 minutes. You think you need to do all these, you know, cool transitions and cool titles and all of these things. And I'm telling you, done is better than perfect. If you're ever thinking, I just don't know if I can do a reel a week, you can. You could probably do 3 or 4. I get it. Maybe not every day. Maybe you should just try and commit to every day, right? Because that's you working on your prospecting. Done is better than perfect. And all of the things, I am a recovering perfectionist. I don't know if you're like this too, but I will often put that constraint on myself. I'm like, well, it's not refined. It's not exactly how I want it. I didn't have it in the perfect white. I didn't have exactly the right title. And I've really had to let so much of that go, because you know what? That's not being a good role model for you guys either. How am I going to tell people to let go of perfection if I'm stuck on the perfection? So I'm like, I'm just letting this roll. I just, shot this in 30 seconds. I'm going to put on a quick title and a quick little post, boom, let it go. So I just really want to put out there to you that so many great tips today, and really commit, and just remember, done is better than perfect. So get out there and do it, whether it's social media, whether it's teaching a Zoom class, whether it's inviting someone to an in-person, right? You guys, we all started with no experience. Most of us coming into this never had experience with network marketing ever before, and we just rolled with it. So just write it down. Done is better than perfect, right? And then commit to, what are you going to be doing? Like, I feel like prospecting is a really, really big thing to be focused on. Every day for me personally, I'm doing something with prospecting. I will tell you, I'm sort of regimented in the way that I do things. So it's interesting hearing Ashley say she doesn't like to time block. I do time block. So here's the cool thing. We work very differently, both successful, right? And there's even people on other extremes than we are, or in between, and they're successful because the actions are the same. She's working on prospecting. I'm working on prospecting. How we do it, where we do it, when we do it, right, is all very flexible, right, to our personalities and our working style, but we're always working on prospecting. So make sure you're writing that down. Done is better than perfect. Prospecting. Who am I prospecting today? Whether you're doing it on social media, whether you're doing it in person, whether you're in the pickup line, whether you're in the supermarket, what's the prospecting that you're doing? And something that I mentioned in the chat that I really want to put out there that, again, is so cool that we can do this, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, like you kind of need to pick where are you seeing the traction. You don't always have to be the content creator. I hope you know this. This class that Amber was talking about, why it's been so successful, it's kind of like we're all doing a little bit of our part about educating why you want to ditch candles, right? But you can do this for anything: immune support, gut health, kids health, any topic you want. You can mix and match this, okay? You don't even need to be doing a class with other people. Maybe you're just following people on our team and you're like, that was really cool what they just shared. That was really cool what they just shared, right? You can curate the content. What that means is Ashley did a really cool reel about, supplements she gives to her kids in the morning. I can take that reel, repost it to my story, right? I can take something else that maybe Anna did that's kind of related to kids' health, post it on my story. Then maybe I do my own story real quick and go, I love this. This is so great. I also use these supplements. Do you see? I'm not necessarily creating all the content, but I'm curating it and I'm committed to posting every single day. So think about what you're doing with that. If you're like, okay, I'm going to be committing to social media, are you doing it every day? Are you either curating the content or creating the content, right? And this is a really key word that Ashley talked about earlier, right? Don't just be a consumer, right? You don't want to just be consuming and liking and commenting. You also want to be curating the content, right? You want to put the content out there to your own audience, because I want you to think about it. Yes, it is helpful to comment, right? And like on what other people are doing. But if that's 100% of the time that you're spending on social media, that's not helping your own presence as far as prospecting, right? You need to be curating, you need to be creating. You don't always have to repost your own stuff. Here's what I would say: post the stuff that our team is putting out there. I'll be really honest, I don't necessarily share other teams. We have so much great creators, great content on our own team, right? And so I like to really just kind of share our own team. We will be having something really cool coming up where we're going to have more content that's shareable on Instagram. But you know what? Here's what we'll do. We can post in our Facebook groups. Let's make sure we're following each other. Follow people on our team, see what they're posting, repost their content. That was really successful for Amber. That's been successful for me as well, and for so many other people. So don't feel like it always has to be your content. You can share other people's content, but just think, are you sharing every day? That's part of your prospecting. The other thing that's part of your prospecting, right, needs to be the follow-up, right? So if someone is engaging on something you're doing on social media, they liked whatever, make sure you're reciprocating. Maybe you're sending them a message going, it's been a long time, how are you doing, right? Again, it's easy to fall into the trap of consuming, right? It's passive, we're there, and it makes us think, I'm on social media, right? I will be honest, I've been so guilty of this, right? I'll be like, well, I'm on social media, I'm commenting and liking, but that's just one very small part, right? That should be like this much of like the entire pie of your social media. Really, it's you sharing what you're doing, like what Ashley said earlier. What products are you doing? Again, this could depend on your personality. My brain works with categories and themes, because if I have to just pull something out each day and think I need to share something of it, I don't know. It's too many choices. What do I do? But if I give myself, right, like a theme, like this month, I'm really going to focus in on candles. Why ditch it? What's wrong with the artificial sense? It gives me so many story ideas, but that's just how my brain works. Your brain might work completely different. So think about how are you going to draw those ideas out for, for you to share. And I think that's really important too. So remember, don't just be a consumer, curate and create as well. Share other people's stuff on our team. Really commit to the prospecting, every single day prospect. Can I also tell you, this is again how crazy my brain is. I don't check emails or messages from anybody until I go through and I make sure I've answered things from prospects first. That's how I get, right? So sometimes you may not hear back from me until maybe the early afternoon. It's because I'm going through my prospects first. Like that's how my brain needs to work. Maybe your brain works differently, but that's my non-negotiable. I will not answer any other messages until I go through all my prospects first. Okay, so you need to write down those non-negotiables. You might have other non-negotiables, like with your family. I will eat dinner with my family every single night. Okay, that's your non-negotiable, but maybe your kids can help you make dinner. Maybe your spouse can help you make dinner so that you can do some prospecting, or you can be in a class, or you can do something else. So figure out like your personal non-negotiables, your business non-negotiables, right? Put it on a list. Right. And here's the thing, I had to let a lot of things go, right? Making my bed in the morning. Yeah, that doesn't always happen. Right. Cleaning my bathroom every single day. Yeah, that definitely doesn't happen. Right. I let go of some of those things because I'm working on growing my business. Maybe that's okay. The bathroom can get done once a week. It's fine. Or I can get kids to help. Right. So I want you guys to think personal non-negotiables, business non-negotiables, write it down. As much of a digital person that I am, you guys, I need to like write it down. It's a post-it note or something that's in my planner, my 3 non-negotiables for the day. I will do these 3 things. I will not go to sleep at night until I do those 3 things. That's how I work, but I'm a very like red personality. For you, it might work a little bit differently, but think about how you're going to make sure that you're going to get those non-negotiables done for your business, okay? It might work differently for you, so you need to figure out what that is. Okay, I feel like I've talked way over, but does anyone else have something that they want to share? Like, do you have non-negotiables? Like, what helps you to make sure that you get those things done? Do you write it down? Do you send yourself a message, right? Is it on a text list? Like, what do you do? I want to hear from you guys.
You see, I find it very difficult to focus and have it all written on a piece of paper, like Ashley was saying. With colors, forget it. I mean, the problem, I think my problem is that I just go by the day and it's like, oh, let me try this. But there's no line. I guess I do it. I do post every day, and I have to post on my Instagram and on my Facebook. That I do. But I mean, the rest is like, I really should plan, and that I have to hear it constantly to do it.
That's so good, Anna. I think so many people can relate to that. And I will tell you, even though I've got that a little bit of that green, so I do like things orderly and detailed, and I'm a big time list maker. The red in me gets very bored if it's monotonous, right? If it's the same 3 things every day, I'm like, I'm good. Why do I need to do this, right? So I kind of need to make it a little bit exciting. So, it could be interesting. I think Ashley's got more of the blue personality, so it'd be really cool to hear her perspective. But this is the thing, right? Like, you also need to do what works for you, right? You can't fit yourself into a box. If making a list, right, or putting it on a Post-it note doesn't work for you, maybe it's something else. The other thing that could work for you is these are your 3 non-negotiables. And when you do those 3 non-negotiables, you give yourself a prize, right? So whether that's, I don't want to use food, but it could be, I will spend an extra 10 minutes, right? Doing, I don't know, I will take a 10-minute nap. I will take a bath tonight, like whatever that is. But that also very much works for me too, right? Like when I get all these things done, I'm going to go relax and like watch MasterChef or something like that, something that I want to do at the end of the night. But Ashley, it'd be really interesting to hear from you.
I mean, I feel like y'all have heard from me a lot on how much of a mess I am with schedule and things and tasks. But I don't give myself, it's interesting that you said that, Tracy, because actually I think Rachel does that where she's like, after I do these things, I'll watch the show, or after I think my biggest pitfall is I just get caught up with people, like, and then I don't have time. And so sometimes I can use that as an excuse. Like this morning, I'm telling you, I was hours of being with people. It was great, but like I will just talk to them and I'll be so excited. And then I won't actually do the task oriented work very well. And I don't ever make lists. No, I hate them. When I say write things down, that was for all of you guys. Sorry. I'm like literally, if you ask me what I'm doing on October 2nd, I know. If you ask me my flight schedule for the next 3 flights that I have, I know when they take off and leave. Like, again, that's why I shouldn't have. I was like, she's going to tell me to talk. And I'm like, I'm terrible. Yeah, I do have a photograph. So it's not always great for my business, but I meant like schedule wise, I'm not usually someone that forgets something. I am late to it or I have an issue with it, but I don't usually forget it. Like last week, we had a call schedule that we kind of talked about. We didn't really talk about it. Like we talked about it and then it happened and no one showed up. But I literally told Tracy, I'm like, I didn't even have it on my calendar. It's my problem. So I do write things down for my family, but my business tasks, I really don't, unless it's something I need to correct. So like even with, and I need to answer this message, even when Tracy asked me a question about something, a lot of times I don't remember if I did it. I have to look in my email. Like I have to look and see if I did it, like physically, if I did it. Sorry, that was not helpful. Some of y'all are like, she's a mess. But if you don't work well with lists, don't start using them for this. That's probably where that, like, if you don't do that, don't do it for your business. I am a note taker. Like I like to take notes. Like if someone's talking, I'm a note taker, but I'm not usually a note taker where it's just tasks. Like I like more like nuggets, that stuff I should learn. I also like to move. I'm not like sitting down for a long time isn't my favorite. So if that's not your favorite either, then you're going to be someone who works from your phone a lot. I didn't have a laptop. Guys, I was all the way at goal before I bought a laptop. Didn't have one. Like we didn't have a computer. That's what I should say. We had a computer my husband used at work. We didn't have one at home because when I was a teacher, I had an iPad they gave me. Point is that we just didn't. So I want to encourage you with that. If you like to work from your phone, you should work from your phone. If you like to sit down and you need to have space and you need to have it like clear and organized, you should do that too. Told y'all, I don't have good advice on this.
But I think it's really like just insight that different people work differently, right? So if I'm talking about a list and you're like, I don't use a list, maybe I need to make a list, but a list doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you. And that's okay. So like release yourself from that. But I think you just need to find whatever that is, unless you're like gifted with a photographic memory like Ashley. I am not. If it's not written down, like my brain does not work on that. Like I execute well, but I don't remember anything. Like people need to remind me all the time. So I have to have it written down. So you need to figure out and maybe you need to go back and look at of the times you've been really successful in getting things done. What did you do? Like retrace those steps of like, what did you do, right, to get those things done? And, you know, Luann just had a comment here and I know she can't talk right now, but I think this is something to really touch on for everybody because we have all been there. She's saying she will do trivial things because she's scared to do the deliberate things for her business. I think that's really good insight, Luann. We have all been there. I am a task person, list maker, and I will tell you, I've definitely been in that position where I'm like, I think I'm spending more time creating this list and crossing things off the list than I am actually doing the things that are important for my business. And I've had to pull back on certain things, right? So I think that is a really good insight to yourself and for everybody listening, right? Like do that sort of self-assessment. Am I spending more time doing the trivial things or am I really spending time working on the big things? I get it. It can be scary, right? Especially starting off in with your business if you've not taught a class yet, right? You haven't shared yet. But here's the thing, just want to put out there again, done is better than perfect. I just want to tell you, I don't know anybody who has perfectly ever launched their business. I have made many, many mistakes. Luann, you may not know this. The first class I ever taught in person, I didn't even close. People ask, where can we get it? I'm like, I don't know. I think you just like go online and nobody signed up. What if I base like my whole business from Young Living based off that one class and I quit? What if I just quit? seriously, none of this would have happened. So I just want to tell you, the mistakes are great learning experiences, and that's where you grow and like learn to pivot and go, okay, I will make sure I'm not going to make that mistake again, and we're going to move on from there. So just wanted to highlight that in case anyone else is feeling that way. It's okay. Know that about yourself, do the self-assessment, and then think, what's one step I can take in the direction of growing my business? This is so good. Anyone else have a question? A day in the life. This was such a good call, wasn't it? Anyone else have a question, a comment? What are you going to be doing? Your non-negotiables. Remember that, okay? What are your non-negotiables? Write that down. Make sure you're working on it. Or maybe you don't write it down. It's just burned in your memory because writing it down doesn't work for you. Anna, you know what it is? It needs to be like a fun thing, right? Like it needs to be like, I don't know, like confetti or something really fun for you. Yeah.
But I do agree that I need a list. You know, I mean, as much as you say, if it doesn't work for you, there is something to do with having like a, not to mind it's so square, but you do need it, because then sometimes it's like, oh, I forgot that one, because you're just doing so many things and then you run away from what you have to do too. So yeah, I mean, I do agree that there is a list. I was better when I was writing my list, even though I didn't cross them all out. I did it the next day at least. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really good too, because if you're a competitive personality, I'm a little bit like this. I'm like, I want all the things to be crossed off in the same day. And then I get upset when it's not. And I'm like, I will do. And you know, you don't want to burn yourself out either, right? So your 3 non-negotiable things, right? And then everything else, it's like, I will get to it. It is a priority, but it's not I cannot put my head to sleep at night if I don't complete these things. So I think that's really great, Anna. And, you know, if you need a reward to give yourself, some of us kind of work better that way too. You can always do that. But just think again, what's worked for you in the past when you've been successful in getting something done. Okay. Maybe you did a remodel in your house. Maybe it was getting your kids enrolled in school. Maybe it was some big thing, right, that you had to do. What did you do? Like backtrack and think, what did you do? How were you successful in that? How can you use that for your Young Living business? Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Amber saying Google. We can keep this in Google. Yeah, that's great too. I'm a super techie person. For some reason though, I need to write down my list. Like, I don't know what it is, but I like need to physically write it out. It just does something to my brain. 90% of what I do is definitely in a document, in a spreadsheet, in a note, but there's like 10% I have to write down. And my to-do list is just something, I don't know what it is, but if it works for you, go for it. I love it. Okay. Ashley, anything else you want to say before we go today?
No, this has been so much fun. I want you guys to go and actually do the things, because we can talk about doing the things, but you've now spent an hour of your work time learning. So you need to go work for an hour. And I am saying it like that because that happens to me. I'm like, oh, I did this call. Even like right now, I'm teaching and being part of our team, but like, this wasn't my big goal for the day. I wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm done now, guys. Cause I fall in that trap a lot of me being like, well, I did that thing and it was kind of big, so I'm good to go. Or like Orly Underground tomorrow night. I can very easily be like, oh, well, there's an Orly Underground, so I'll work then. I want you to listen. That is a really hard thing. Oh, geez, man, to figure out with yourself. So gonna encourage you, write it down. Don't write it down, whatever you have to do. Write it down for real. Don't listen to my advice, but go through and just figure out that big goal for today. If you didn't, and then encourage yourself to do it every day. And also on your family's calendar, if you do have that, because I told you I do this for my family. Like if you always want to be at the Orly Undergrounds, then you write them down, but don't count them as your class that you're teaching, right? Count it as an educational opportunity that you're attending. And then that way it'll kind of work out in your better too. And for your family to know what you're actually doing at night. Cause I work at night all the time, but it's different work. Some nights it's like me, I need to focus and sit down and have a couple extra hours. Sometimes it's me going to an event or teaching an event and it just looks different. So thank you guys so much. Have an awesome Monday. Thanks, Tracy.